Right, welcome back. As you can see, the cockpit tub and the canopy are now mounted into the top half of the Batwing. Basically, what you need to do first is you need to get the canopy. There's a retaining arm, and you need to put that in from the top. You basically put it in at an angle into that gap there, as you can see. And then the two halves of the retaining arm, one half goes there and one half goes underneath the other side, this side here. And then you glue your completed cockpit tub from underneath, and in the cockpit tub will actually hold the canopy retaining arm. And as you can see, the canopy is free moving. Turning it over, as you can see, it's all there. Let me just try and rest it down. There we go. That notch there on the back of the cockpit tub actually holds in the retaining arm of the canopy. Basically, I just ran the glue round the edges, pushed it into place, and then just let it a couple of hours to dry, and then I turned it back over and then just ran a bit more glue in round the edges just to give it a bit of strength. The only problem is I couldn't clamp this at all. So basically I just left it to rest on the mat and just let gravity and the weight of the tub push it into the bottom part of the actual top of the Batwing. But now that's all done, it's now ready to glue that into there. Stay with me. Right, before I glue the top half of the Batwing on, there's one thing I must tell you, is the scissor jaws. Now if you decide to put them on, which I'm gonna, I've painted them in gunmetal, and they don't glue together, they just clip together. Now that little notch there's one on the underneath, and it runs in that little channel, as you can see, free moving, so you don't glue it into place. Basically you get this plate, you can see there's a channel right down the middle for that top notch, and there's also some mounting holes for those mounting pegs. And then basically you just slip that on top of there. Obviously you got to glue the plate into place, and then once that's dry that will be free moving, and then you can pull that forward and then you can open it, or you can push it back into place. It's up to you, but just make sure you do that before you close all that up. Stay with me. Right, and welcome back. As you can see, I'm now gluing the top part of the fuselage to the actual Batwing using all my clamps. For the two pointed ends I'm using my pressure clamps with the two tins to hold them up a bit more. I've got my hand clamps, which I don't use very often. They're holding the middle down, and then I've got my two little dinky ones at the back holding the backs down, with a bit of tape as well, because I couldn't really use the pressure clamps on the back or my G clamps, so I'm hoping they'll eliminate that gap that was appeared when I was trying to glue them down. So I'm going to leave this a few hours to dry and then see what happens when I take the clamps off. Stay with me. Right, 15 hours later, you can see that I've took the clamps off now. It ain't gone down too bad. I mean, I've got a bit of seam work to do around the front parts there. And if I can just grab that claw, you can see that the claw is free moving. Just doing this one-handed. You can see the claw is free moving. Oh, it's a bit stiff, but it's still moving. There's probably, you can see there's a bit of seam work I've got to do there. And the back, a little bit of sanding again, maybe a bit of filling around this join here. Yeah, especially there. Got to do a bit of filling there, but not too bad. I'm actually quite glad with the results. I mean, you can see the shiny glue marks. So there's a lot of seam work and sanding to do, but I'm well chuffed with the results. Stay with me. Right, welcome back. As you can see, I've been doing a bit of sanding and a bit of filling and a bit more sanding on those seams of the top half of the fuselage into the Batwing, you can see when I've been sanding and filling. So what I'm going to do now is I've just masked off the cockpit, because I'm going to be re-primering that, because I thought, shall I paint on top of that, and I thought no, I better re-primer it, as you can see. And I've also done a bit of sanding in between, and I've also put a bit of electrical tape to mask off where the claw comes out, so I don't want any primer getting on the claw. But once this last bit has been primered after I've been sanding, it's now ready for paint. Stay with me. Right, welcome back. You know, bits and drabs over the last couple of weeks, you know, maybe half an hour here, an hour there every day. Over the last couple of weeks, I can happily say the Batwing is finished, and I'm really, really happy with the results. So here's the final reveal. Well, there it is, all finished. When I left here, I just I did some seam work, and then I had to mask off the canopy and then re-primer those. Well, now as you can see, it's all painted basically by hand with this brush pretty much, and my other thin brush as well, my slightly thinner brush, with the Revel 36109 anthracite. If you remember from a few years ago when I painted Airwolf, as you can see there's Airwolf, same colour. Because a lot of people believe that the Batwing and the Batmobile and the Batboat are black. In the first movie they're not. It's like a very, very dark grey. So I did that, took about 3 coats by hand. The second coat was quite streaky, but once the third coat went down, the streaks disappeared. And you can see all the way around. Now basically what I did with the canopy was just blank. So what I did is got my edging tape, my Tamiya curve tape, and just went round the edges, masked it all off, and then just went with my anthracite, because it looked a hell of a lot better this way than it would have been if I hadn't touched it. And you can see it looks really, really nice, not bad at all. Continuing around the canopy area, you've got these missiles here. Those missiles have got like a really long tube of plastic behind it, and if I can show you on the box art, you can see that that long piece of plastic actually rests on, and then the missiles stick a hell of a lot further out. But after studying the Batman scene for about the 50 millionth time with a Batwing, the missiles I'm actually further back, as you can see. So what I did is I just drilled a hole on all the missiles, where not actually on the missiles, on the actual channels, and then push that plastic right back in. And basically what I did with those missiles, I painted the front tips in the anti-fouling red that I bought for the Arizona, and then the rear of the missiles in the gunmetal from the war paint. And I think it's brought them out really, really nice, not too bad at all. I had to cut the, see those fins there, I had to cut the bottom fins off to get it right in the channel. So it doesn't matter because the bottom fins are on the underneath, so you can't see them. Right, now going to the Gatling gun, I'm just going to pause this video for a sec. Right, I've just put the flash on for a few seconds. As you can see that I've added to the Gatling gun, because on the scene you see the Gatling come down, the actual opening flap, but you don't see where the actual bullets from the Gatling gun are being fed from. So what I've done is I've just got a normal piece of card and then bent it, and then scored with my Swan Morton knife, just scored some little channels down the side, as you can see, and it actually looks like proper Gatling gun feeder belt. So a little cheap modification for something so small. I wanted that to, because I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't sure where the hell are the bullets coming from. So that's what I've done for that. I'm just going to pause this again. Now it comes to the actual jaws. You can see that they're now coming out of the front of the Batwing, as you can see. I can close them and shut them, but it's going to be very difficult trying to do this one-handed. No, I can't do it. No, I can't do it one-handed, but I do assure you they do open and close. Right, you can see that I've also, after I've done the anthracite, you can see I put the decals on. Some of them show up quite prominently. I tried to use my microsol, a couple of applications of the sol, and then with me matte clear, where is it, the 36102 matte, I put a couple of coats of that down, just try and dull them down, but they haven't dulled down. So that's the decals. Now, as you can see, I've weathered it slightly. I made a wash with my gunmetal and some water. There's the remainder of the wash, there's very much left now. And I just got my big brush and just went over, before I put the decals on, and then wiped it off with some cloth. I did about 2 or 3 applications, because I wanted to try and replicate, let me just get my box, I wanted to try and replicate that. Obviously I haven't 100% replicated it, but it's not too bad. It's nice and subtle, because when I painted the anthracite on, it did actually look quite dull and like uninteresting. So like I said, with that silk, with the gunmetal wash, you can see it's brought out the panel lines as a treat, as well, as you can see. Brought those out an absolute treat. I'll just put my pencil down and I'll turn this over. You can see on the other side as well that the panel lines have come out an absolute treat with that silver, the gunmetal wash. So I'd advise you to give it a good wash with your gunmetal or silver. Just thin it down very, very watery, probably about 1 part paint to 3 parts water. It might be a little blower paint, maybe 1.5 part paint, but it's come down an absolute treat as well. Now with the canopy does open. I have to pause this again. Right, as you can see, the canopy does come open. I can't do it one-handed, unfortunately, but not too bad at all. Now when I push the canopy down, I have to like really push it down, because you can see there's a gap, and there's a slight small gap there, as you can see, but it's not too bad. But like I said, the canopy is very, very transparent, so you can see Batman. I mean, obviously without the glare, let me just turn that light off. You can see Batman inside. Not too bad at all. Turning the light back on. Now with the base, basically what I did is I primed it and then used the number 69 Humbrol yellow spray, because I've got some left from the Jordan, if you remember the Jordan. I've got about half a can left from that. So I just went all over with it, and then by hand with me 36108 matte black, and then just tied it up around the edges with me 36115 yellow. It's not a 100% match, but from here you can't tell the difference. Not bad at all. The actual, and the mounting pole as well, is hollow, so if you wanted to light this kit, you could put your battery underneath there. It is actually hollow. Right, now when it comes to the actual clear, the secondary clear parts, which is the lights on the front, you can't tell from that, but if you look straight on, I don't know if you can see straight on, I've actually painted inside there yellow with the 36115, and I just painted the insides of the actual the Batwing itself, where the lights mounted in, and I just pushed them into place. I didn't need to glue them. And also with that canopy as well, you have to glue this front part of the canopy on. So I used the glue and glaze for that and got some tape and held that down. But like I said, if you don't forget, make sure when you mount that in, you don't glue that part in. It goes in from the underneath, and then the cockpit holds that down. But just the last look at the Batwing. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this video yet again, and I'm going to put this on the backdrop. Right, there it is on the backdrop against Gotham City. Not bad at all. Basically the backdrop's just card, and underneath there's 4 sections where you need to push it through and then fold the tabs back. But there it is against the Gotham City backdrop. Not bad at all. It's actually a nice touch, that is, if you ask me. Not a bad touch at all. Right, as usual, hopefully I haven't bored you too much, and I'll put some some stills on at the end of this video so you can get a better look at the Batwing. And see you very soon with the next part of me Batman series. Thank you very much for watching.
Come on, you gruesome son of a bitch. Come to me.